because he was on a good streak. All right, I'll let you. That was another non-planned break. No one said anything bad.
Cut 3. Hey guys, and welcome back to another House of Jackals podcast. This is Jackals Den number 5. Today we have the owner of Mir Tactical right here, Mr. Alex. He's going to be going over some details coming up in the future and the current event that we're at right now. We are currently sitting on the AO of Southern Watch in Immokalee, Florida. On my right here, I do have a trash bag on my team. He's our dedicated medic. Our dedicated medic comes out to this event, I mean, ever since Overwatch, right?
Yeah, it was my first Southern Watch, but after my move, being so far away, wasn't able to make the other ones, but now I'm a lot closer, so I can start, coming to these events every year as long as they happen.
Yeah, right. So Alex, would you like us to tell everybody what kind of intel we will be looking at for tomorrow, specifically right around maybe some outside objectives besides the control points?
Yeah, so I'm going to lead with something and then get into it, okay?
Go ahead.
So we're kind of redeveloping how the game, we're doing our structure. This is like one of the little test beds that we have. Everyone looking at the year, right, you have like MILSIM West, and then you kind of have, right or wrongly, have everybody else. So everyone's game is assumed to be the same. Not always true, but that's what outside observers feel. So we created a little like sub-brand, this tactical war game simulation thing, where I wanted to kind of separate ourselves a little bit from that, at least by name and some of the things that we do, and change it up a little bit. So part of what you're going to see today, or see tomorrow, is the introduction of some NPCs throughout the day that are either like you can interact with them if you want, or not interact them if you want. But if you do interact with them, you're going to get like a special patch, either if you win or like do what you're supposed to do with them or not, you're going to get a different patch. So we're going to introduce, and this is like a test bed for that, like NPCs, but the goal is to have certain ones always at events so that you can kind of almost build like a wrestler persona of them, so you know exactly how to interact with them, what to do with them. So that's going to be a component that you're going to see tomorrow. We're going to have our normal objectives, which are Ares Alpha boxes. Not this event, but the next event that we do. We got our GPS cards for those. So now the points and everything are going to update. They would update with the GPS cards. All the points in real time. We're going to add there's going to be 5 of those at most of the events. So that'll be our always on objective. And then this year we're doing some vehicles. We're going to have the helicopter. Helicopter just adds just atmosphere that we always lose. The helicopter ticket's expensive, but it'd be a lot more expensive if I didn't want to lose any money. I lose money every time doing it. But this venue really the pilot Paul is killer. He's right down the street almost, so it adds that extra flavor to things. And then you're going to get your fragos that go throughout the day. So the TWS, Tactical Wargame Simulation thing, is going to be a mix of NPCs, static objectives through the Ares Alpha boxes, the fragos, but then also the last thing, which unfortunately you're not going to get to see this time around, is we're introducing a new trainer that's going to be doing on Friday nights. He's in the Navy SEALs for 22 years. And for people that want to, he's played paintball before and airsoft a lot of times. So he's airsoft-defying his Navy SEAL training to kind of teach people, like, this is what I would do to how to breach a building. This is what I would do of how to...
So is it a training or is it more like a JTF?
It's going to be a training session. He's going to have like little pods. He's actually a trainer in the Navy SEALs for his last 3 or 4 years. So it's hard to get someone that can actually like teach, right? Mm-hmm. He's good at it. He rewrote some of their standards and everything like that before he left. And he's going to be out at most of our events, but some of them that he won't. One of the aspects that we're adding, because everyone wants we want to add if you want to take the content in, you can. If you don't, totally cool. But before each event, we're gonna have 2 to 4 live streams, or 2 live streams, 2 videos. The live streams are gonna just go over basics of here's how we're gonna interact with the field, kind of get his perspective of how we approach certain things, and then he's gonna create 2 videos on what loadout would I wear for this venue, right? Considering it's more CQB versus whatever. and also content around, like, here's this main building. It's a very strategic building. Here's how I would defend it. Here's how I would attack it. And he's going to do that ahead of time, whereas the on-site training is just training of how to do certain things, how weapon manipulation, how to go into a corner, how to clear a room with 2 people, all that kind of stuff he's putting together. Unfortunately, I know we're talking about this event, and that's not happening, but starting next year, that whole concept is kind of, that's how we're going to differentiate ourselves a little bit.
I like that. It brings a whole different aspect and a little bit more to just the MILSIM experience as well. Not to mention, a lot of people could use the training. They could use a little bit of the intel out there.
Yeah.
You know, we don't just have the weekend warriors out there too, but we also have more of the younger crowd that would love to learn that stuff as well.
Well, just add it. Like, I mean, I think where MILSIM West succeeds quite a bit is their staff is probably second to none when it comes to how they operate. And Josh did a real good job pushing his staff, like all the people there. And so I learned from that a lot. And that's what that's why I want the static, like 2 to 5 pods of people running the sides, so people can, like, you know, interact with these people and know them a little bit more than some random people every so often. And then with this trainer, with what we were doing, it's also the big focus next year is teams. So we're going to have a like a team, like a premier preferred team. It's not like a sponsorship, but it's everything that you interact with us is going to be easier if you're a team, helping, and then help people find teams, because coming out here, right, it's easier to justify travel costs if you can split those across multiple people. So we want to really, you know, help teams foster and grow and get out. And I know there's been a lot of feedback back that, you know, this is, there's tons of people that only come out here because it's like it's an excuse to see their friends where they can't see their friends normally in their lives. And so, like, it's an easy excuse to say, oh, honey, I'm just going to go see my friends. I don't get to see them. We're going to do this. And that's what I've noticed throughout these years, is fostering that and allowing for a good experience for teams, whether it be group buys, having special identification, easier check-in, easier chrono, things of that nature, so you can spend more time with your, you know, teammates, right? So
I like that idea. You know, it's going to make the teams feel special too, because a lot of them like feeling special. I've seen a lot of this when we go to events, and they're included with, like, objectives. They're included with whether or not, as you said, static objectives. That's the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
When teams are included with static objectives, they seem to be more excited to come out again and again and again, which I really like seeing. Because, I mean, we've been in this now in House of Jackals for 9 years, and we've seen teams just fall out. And it's kind of a sad thing. I mean, give or take, we've been playing this a long time. But it is nice seeing teams enjoying themselves when they're out here and not necessarily having issues. Because unfortunately, I mean, issues do happen, but anything to make it feel more comfortable when there is anything like that is definitely very important. I also like the wrestler persona that you're talking about. We saw a lot of that at, like, older Lion Claw events with some of their COs and XOs. I saw it at American MILSIM. MILSIM West, I mean, they've always done it. I really like their crew. But that's huge with me, because I like being able to go to events and be like, oh, what's going on, brother? You know, and meet the people that I've been playing with for years in a command situation where I know what their kind of gameplay is going to be, what their style is. I like the whole characters we had. Like, Batman was my favorite tan faction over in Lion Claws. He was real loud, but he was real fast. He was always up at the front line. And then they had the guy that was ex-Spetsnaz that would do green. I keep forgetting his name.
Dover something D. It was something with a D.
Awesome guy, super friendly, but he would just shout, you know, random Russian the entire time.
We can't do that now.
Yeah, I'd say he used to really bring up people and bring the whole reality of the green faction being more of you know, out western faction. So to me, that made the whole simulation just so much better too. More realistic, more friendly.
I mean, it's all about fostering, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the team, the NPCs and the generals and stuff, I want people to, like, feel connected with in some ways. That's why I use, like, the wrestler persona, because it's fake. You know, well, don't tell that Vince McMahon. Don't watch that documentary if you don't want to hate that man. But it's building that, like, rapport up and building that want to go see those people. It's more so trying to get people to need to go rather than want to go. That's like my theme of, that's my internal theme now, you know, it's external, is that provides such a good experience and all these cool things that people need to go to this. And I've seen other events this year, ours, a couple of ours, but like other either bigger producers, people go to those things and they like to go to them, but then the cost got maybe a little too high, or they've been to the same thing like 3 or 4 times, so they're like, I guess I can skip this year. I want to make it so you don't need, like, you want to go to everything. You don't want to skip it. And if you do skip it, your friends are going to tell you all the cool things that you miss. Like, that's like the drive of it. Give you an example. Avenged Sevenfold right now and System of a Down are out. And if you like one of those 2 bands, you need to go to that because you don't want to see, you need, you know, it's like that unique experience to that. So that's what we need to build together. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not just happen like that, but we're putting the right people in place to make that happen, and me overseeing it, because we want to make sure like these venues stay safe, that you guys are always coming out having a good place to play, you know, having a good time, and that's why we do everything all over the United States, and that's why we've kind of moved like all over the place.
You guys pick killer venues too. I mean, the 2 that I really would like to go to, the satellite station that you guys had, I believe it was last year.
Sky Shield.
I really wish I would have went to that one. I saw video footage of it. Honestly, beautiful layout. It looked like an absolute blast.
Very cool.
And the prison out in PA.
Yep, that's a great one too.
And we plan on going to that one this year.
Yep, I've got it. I got confirmation back on that too. So everything's confirmed. That's the good thing. We all have contracts in place. Obviously, contracts can be broken in certain cases.
Yeah.
That's why you have them in the first place, and so you have something to go back to. But yeah, it's like all the cool places, and then being a stability to these owners. Like some people have mentioned, like, why do you have exclusive things? Like, why can't anybody be there? It's because we've learned it only takes, especially at a venue. It happened at MUTC like 6 years ago. It took like one bad actor to take the whole thing down. And I'm not saying all these other people would be bad actors, but like it also offers the owner some stability, so that they know this is what they're going to get every single time, so that they're more apt to, like, more open for us to continue there. That happened in the UP when I signed that contract. Like, I made sure, here's an example of why I do certain things, and I'll give you a little insight, is they have a lot of owners up there. So one day, a group of owners could be like, a subset, it could be like, no, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with one person, not dealing with 2, I'm dealing with like a lot. So we made our contract pretty rigid, so that if anything slightly changes, there's a, you know, some of them don't want to do it now, or all of a sudden they're stuck with me. So as long as I do keep my end of the bargain up. So it's part of that's preserving these places so that they keep wanting to do airsoft. And you lose some every once in a while. Like there's 2 that I'm working on right now. I had them brand new. No one's ever done these 2. And I've had them like locked, like I was ready to go. And then I get like, oh, now this property is contingent on selling. So I'm like, okay, well, keep me in the loop if it doesn't. So I'm waiting 4 more weeks to see if that actually happens, and then we'll be able to do it again. And this other one's like, oh, we have a long-term lease potential. I'm like,
what kind of properties are they?
One is a mall. One's a mall, a 2-story mall.
Okay,
a 1-story mall, 2-story mall. That was the craziest thing. We did the mall in Milwaukee, and Lion Claws had that for so long, and then stopped doing it for like 3 or 4 years. And I saw a Casey Neistat video of him in the mall again. I'm like, oh, no one's doing it here, so let's try it.
They have an airsoft field underneath that mall too.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
That's Airsoft Arena.
I've been to that one.
That's like there's a like an Asian like type market, and then they're in the basement of that. This is actually a physical. This was the Northridge Mall. It was 1 million square feet at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's condemned now and being destroyed by the city of Milwaukee. But one's a mall, and then one is a another kind of base, non-traditional base. I'll give you that. That's a hint. But that one is huge. That one was 100. It's a whole city. It's 140 acres and everything. I think more than that, 180 or something. But
has it ever been played before?
No. Like it's been owned and but it's almost too good, like kind of thing. But
yeah,
you know, we'll see if that lease falls through. And I'm good to go. I found out yesterday. I was hoping on it. I was waiting on the response back, and they told me what I just told you.
Yeah.
And I said, how long? And they said, by the end of the year, we should know. So I'm hoping that doesn't, well, I hope it works out for them, but I hope it sort of doesn't work out for them. Reasons. Anyway, what are you guys, both of you, like, what Okay, that log distracted me. What do you like the most about coming out to an airsoft event? What is it that you like about it? Is it hanging out with your friends? Is it playing? Is it like the mission? Like, what do you like? Give me like top 2 reasons why you like coming out.
Cameron?
Well, first one obvious, coming out here, getting to see my friends that, I've spent so many years. I've been around this team for a long time. I've seen it go from just a group of guys, lived in the Tampa area, to now, we're traveling around the country, going to events, and like you said earlier about how teams, they don't get to, hang out a lot, and we use this as an excuse to, see your buddies. It's kind of how it is. We got teammates, scattered all over Florida. We got Dalton in
Yeah, Dalton's in Georgia.
In Georgia.
He still comes down almost every event.
Florida's a long, skinny state, that's for sure.
But that, and also just going to these, exotic places that, a lot of the other people don't get the chance to go to, and they get to experience a lot of stuff like Stonebreaker and stuff, getting around the Little Bird at night and stuff. I don't know anyone else that gets to do stuff like that.
Yeah, having that night JTF mission, that was definitely different, especially experiencing that with night vision the whole time.
And that was my first time ever doing something like that, ever going in one of them.
That's real cool.
For me, I do agree with Cam. I really like the aspect of going to different AOs. Some of these AOs are absolutely stunning. Like one of my favorites out of every AO I've ever been to was it was Nepeming over its insane asylum
in Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. They tore it down, right? I don't think it's still up.
Oh, I think it had some. Yeah, it got condemned at one point.
Well, the place was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
We ended up catching like ghost on footage, and we had issues with all sorts of stuff. We would hear like footsteps and like laughter in our comms. It was really funky AO, but it was really cool. And not to mention, it's on top of a hill. You could see over the entire city and everything. It was really pretty AO.
Yeah.
Stuff I kind of miss though, because I've been going to MILSIM. I've been playing for 20 years. So going to MILSIMs and kind of seeing what you want to bring back is a special aspect. Line Claws used to do like challenging coins for the winning faction. AMS would do like the what are they like the rank patches for people that would come like throughout the future. I don't know if they still do it, because I've only been to a couple AMS events. But I liked the fact that they did special stuff like that. It really made you feel included into that faction, and kind of made you fall in love with the faction itself. Made you want to keep coming back and fighting for that faction. And I'm excited to see more of that in the future, especially with you saying you're bringing in NPCs too. I like the static NPCs. When you get approached by just random people and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but you're dealing with an outside entity in a crazy scenario. So like No Pemming actually was one of my favorites with that. Is there was nurses with babies, and they had thunder bees strapped to the babies, and they were crying and laughing, and they're like pulling the cord on the thunder bees and throwing the babies at you. And it was crazy stuff like that. No, we kicked them. So yeah, they're like coming over by us, and we just like kicked the baby.
It's recording now that you kick babies.
Yeah, I know. But it was a fake baby. I'll live with that.
Tell that to the babies. You were doing the Joker thing before Joker. Remember in Suicide Squad, he was like laying down, he had baby bombs or whatever. Anyway, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's all like everything's an experience, right? So like that's what I noticed more. The craziest thing to me, someone was asking if we had like game specific T-shirts, and I thought to myself, I'm like, who the heck wants game specific T-shirt? But it's that's where I came out with the patch thing and the cool trinkets we're going to give out throughout the games, because it's showing. And that's why we brought like the Navy SEAL guy in and stuff like that, because they all have something cool to offer, and I want people to go back to like and saying, oh crap, like I got to meet this guy, I got to do this thing, I got this thing back. It's more of like a story to go tell someone back. I mean, you guys are paying us money, like a lot of people, this is a lot of money to them too, and we want to make sure you get what you like what you pay for, and that you get to like. Some people don't get a lot of, like, that's why I bring up this team thing. They don't get a lot of vacations and stuff like that. So I want to make that special.
We were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
2 guys came up and they're like, this is the closest thing I have to a vacation. I'm like, yeah.
So I want to make sure that experience is, like, killer. I want people to, like, brag about it. And, again, that goes back to what I learned from, like, that's Josh's, like, staff at MILSIM West. Like, he's done such a great job, like, building those people up that they they want to say, oh, I was, with, this person, and this is what his history is. They can have a story to tell about the person they interacted with and everything like that. I think it's a big thing to, what they do. And that's what I want you guys to like feel like, I mean, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs and stuff like that, but you all of a sudden you can tell your, friends or your family members, like, this is what I did. I got this cool thing for doing this. I got to play this cool place. Got to hang out with my friends, and just a story that lasts a little bit longer than just the event.
Yeah. And I feel like some events have gotten real stale too. We've gone to events where the spawns might have been laid out kind of shitty, where you're just either one, getting spawn camped a lot, or you were just not having the full experience of the AO itself.
Yeah. And they hammer it, right? They don't change anything. They just go.
Exactly. And I'm not huge on that, and then they'll switch up the year after that, and it'll be good, and then for whatever reason they'll go back to the original idea, and it's just like, what are you doing, And I definitely feel like there's something stale with a lot of events, and I really think it's that outside interaction that's not making them different from each other.
Yeah, and I think it's more of like there's certain people that make quite a bit of money on the events, like they've been doing real good for a long time. And it's like that thing that I watch, Kitchen Nightmares or something, do you change, or do you stay the same? Do you get content with what you do? Because if you build the same event up, like, you can technically just repeat and rinse and repeat the entire thing. But do you want to do that? Like, do you want to change it up? Do you have the drive to want to change it up? Do you, the other thing I saw too, which is something that's why I want to do this like preferred team thing rather than like a sponsorship, is that we're talking, right? So I know you guys more potentially than some others, right?
Yeah.
But everyone pays the same like ticket price. So sure, I can be more cordial with you because I know you guys more, but it's like, I've seen a lot of people come back and like, oh yeah, they always give these people the exact same, the cool thing to do, whereas others, have to earn their, it's like, come on, like, you're all paying the same money. You want to make sure that everyone has an equal good time. Sure, I'm going to know people more than others, but reinforcing that is like, everyone's paying the same money. Like, no one's special. Someone does something bad, like, sorry, like, someone does something good, awesome. And I've seen that feedback back, and I don't want to repeat that. So the one thing,
I was curious about that, to be honest, because I've seen similar feedback to that with other companies as well. And I mean, to be honest, we love giving back to the community. That's why we did the rave over here in the chapel.
That was good. That was when my hair was shorter. Still was long.
That's right.
Still was long, but
we wanted to do that to really show people that there's other stuff than just a regular night game for the people that don't run nods, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had like 50 people that joined in that night, and they had a great time. And it was funny because we had them come back, and we were giving everybody fake dollar bills and stuff, like the stacks of hundreds for the money and the fake drugs that they got at the end of the night.
Well, you can't say that. Bleep that out.
Fake. And they came up to us two events after that event that year, and they're like, "Oh, look, here's the cash from that. I remember playing with you guys." And we love being able to do that. We love being able to see the community come back to us and be like, "Hey, you really helped make it a really good time." And we want to be able to do that with other companies as well, whether it's your guys' company, any company that we've been with. I definitely think everybody, even if you're interested in coming out to the sport, or if you've ever thought about doing it, do it. Get some gear. It doesn't matter what kind of gear it does. You don't have to have the best gear. You don't have to have the best gun. You just have to come out here and have fun, and you will have fun. People do it all the time. We see individuals out here at every age group come out here and play. Yep. So, I mean, if you're out here and you're watching this right now, go out to your next event. There's nothing holding you back. Yeah.
I mean, and again, this is a sport, it's a hobby, and like I said, it's one of those things to get out there and I'm just repeating what you said. You said it eloquently. I'm going to shut up.
You're fine.
Do what he said.
I'm just happy that you guys started coming down more south.
Yeah.
You guys bring a great community. You guys definitely keep our AOs alive. It seems like a lot of companies have had issues keeping some of our AOs.
This one was tough. This one was rough. You know what it is a lot of times, and that's why I go back to my contract stuff, is there's a lot of times that someone's done something bad, and then you have to bring it back. This was one of those venues. That's the only reason I came down, is I call venues up that people haven't used in like a year or so, and I say, hey, what's going on? Well, this happened, blah, 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 so we're not doing this anymore. And I go, okay, well, I'll put a deposit down saying that I'll return it to the exact condition I left it as. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe that's okay then. So you sometimes, it's tough. Like, this thing was shut down and then went through 3 owners, all in the matter of like 3 years. It was gnarly, but you have to know how to communicate.
This place was sold for like $1 or something at one point in time, wasn't it?
It was. It was into it went to like this person that was going to claim to. It was owned by one guy. I'll give you the quick history. We got 2 seconds here. It was owned by a guy. Well, it was owned by the prison. Owned by a guy. Guy leased it out to a company called Altair that was going to do military training and bring a bunch of jobs in. It was news in South Florida. Blah blah blah. It didn't happen. They got raided by the FBI. Landowner still owned it. Then a new person went in. They couldn't afford the rent. So then another new person came in. They were affording the rent, paying the thing. Then it came up for the year annual lease agreement. They backed out. New guy bought the property, and they're turning the back end into some sort of golf course. But they're keeping this because this is too expensive to actually knock down. So they're going around it. And the gun range has been successful. So that's the history of this place.
Is it a public or a private gun range?
They have memberships, but then they also have you can pay more expensive, right? Individual. Their biggest thing here is they have like a 1.5 mile or 2 mile sniper.
Oh, really?
Thing in the back. That's why you hear the big booms in the back behind us. But yeah, that's their big thing. Is their really unique thing that they have. But like I said, it's good that there's stability now with a new owner that's actually doing something with the property. There's still cows on the property. There's still always 2 cows on the property.
Still gators climbing fences, stuff like
gators
that.
Gators might climb fences. There's a few pigs. Sunbathing and pigs. Panthers, bears, oh my.
But in Florida, you're going to get all that.
But yeah, like I said, but having places to play, and last thing before, you talked about Lion Claws. When Lion Claws was big, everyone saved up all their money to go to Lion Claws because it was the only thing around.
That's true.
There wasn't open plays, there wasn't anything like that, so everyone saved it. Now you're competing with open plays, you're competing with going more frequently, and that's why you have to even just be more distinctive, even if you have a cool place, because that adds up. You go to like an indoor field or an outdoor field 3 times a month, that's like $90, $100. That's the same as like half of what you're paying here. And so, you got to compete with that now, and that's why we're doing so much more and understanding that we have to take what we do, which is I think pretty decent, and even just kind of, because when you stop improving, you stop listening, you stop, you end up dying at some point. You worry about other people too much. That's the other thing too. You worry about other competitors and stuff. You take the good, listen at the bad, and then make your product better, not hate on other people. Because that's what I've learned too, is if you start hating, it's a hard lesson, because I've had people come at me and do everything. The more that you focus on your competition, the more that you can't focus on what you're doing. And you can listen, good, bad, but then you're not doing a service to your players. You're creating division. And if that's like one of the big things that we do, is we learn and we don't retaliate, we don't do anything, we focus on what we do. Because of what we do, we owe everything to you guys. We don't owe anything to our competitors. We don't owe anything else. Because of the people that pay us. That's what we do.
And to touch on that too, I feel like the other companies, I'm just going to go with other companies in this one. When they do focus more on their competition, it does cause more drama that inadvertently affects the players, because then they lose AOs. They lose...
Happened in the Scatatuck,
It's not fair. It's not fair to the players, and at the end of the day, there's situations that may or may not have been avoided, but at the same time, the people who lost out were the players. As much as the companies, it might have been some money here and there, but the players missed out. And for years, certain AOs weren't being able to use. Those owners were pissed off, and so on and so forth. I can keep talking about this for hours, but it's not needed. And I like that you guys focus more on the community than your competition.
Yeah, you're gonna people don't always people judge, or the best way you can judge your product is by people's feet. People won't complain. People sometimes won't praise you, but if they keep coming back, then you're doing something good. If they stop coming back, then you're not doing something good, and you need to look at what that is. It could be economy. It could be It could be because something was run wrong, and that's why we touch. Like that sounds weird now that I said it, but we call people up. We see how people are doing. If I call the person up, there was a group that I'm going to end in a positive, okay, but we're going to start with a negative. There's a group that said, well, in one of your games we just had a bad time. We had a good time at the other one, but this other one XYZ. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for the feedback. I did a roast of myself on our events page to understand, because people won't normally tell you like to your face what you did right or wrong sometimes, and it's good to get that back. And you listen to some, and some you can't help. But it's listening to the players is key. And to end on a good note, that's a bad note. End on a good note is that I think airsoft is growing continuously. I think that it's going to keep growing. There's a lot of new people in it, which is good. That means companies are improving. So airsoft replicas have improved significantly because they're getting more mainstream. Yep. People are going to be held more accountable to these events, and you're going to start seeing, I think, a little bit of consolidation, which is a good or bad thing, but you're going to get more consistent product out of the promoters, to where little things, start to not happen like they used to in the past. Mm-hmm. I think the fields are going to get stronger, and to have a field is something big, and hopefully the field owners take that responsibility of like, hey, everyone's your customer, not just your friends. And I've seen some fields fail because they have a predisposition of like, what is the right thing, not for the entirety, but for their little, friend group. Yeah. The owner, I call that restaurant syndrome. Owning a restaurant is what everyone wants, because they can brag that they have a restaurant. Yeah. And not all of those work out. I think in South Florida, you guys have so many fields here. You got a couple coming up. You got a bunch of indoor stuff. Even some indoor that shoot recreational things on the side. Mm-hmm. They rent their stuff out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You do?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we saw the photos. Oh,
you saw the photos, guys. Yeah. Okay, yeah, photos mean everything. Totally. It's okay. Sometimes the hustle.
For anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about.
No, don't worry about it.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, it's a hustle. It's a hustle. But they got new ones coming up, like Dead End Outfitters coming up. You got CSI is the one that I learned about today. I didn't know existed, but now I know. And we have
CIA.
CIA.
Yeah, CIA in Tampa. Great people. The owners have been very, very good to us. The field's really cool. They have done an expansion on the field too, if you haven't checked it out.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, just go out and for new people that are listening, or even the existing people are going to keep those local fields alive. So keep going to those local fields. If you disagree with something, vocalize it. Obviously, they may listen, they may not listen. At least you vocalized it, and they may understand. But support those things. Support new players and take them to a local field. Every local field has rentals, and they may love it. And then they get to go to the bigger things with you. And then just get out and, don't feel like you mentioned earlier, just start with something. Start solid.
Anywhere.
A gun, like I said, the rental is key, but there's so many good airsoft guns out there now that you really can't go wrong unless you buy a certain brand that I'm not going to name that looks cool. Buy reliability. I'm going to plug. Can I plug?
You can say whatever you want on here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Arcturus, my boys, they make a great starter.
There you go.
On that note, that's my positivity.
And I like that brand too. Yeah. I've got to pull apart a couple other products, and I was very surprised on the reinforcement that they use on some of it for the reliability purposes of those guns. Well, for tonight, I think that's all the real questions that we have on our end. I'm glad that you were able to join us for this evening.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you for having us at the event too.
No problem. And thank that millipede.
That's about to go into my fire.
Millipede.
Thank you, millipede. All right. Thank you guys again. See ya.
Thanks, man.
I'm going to reach. Okay.